Welcome to 5 Minute Friday, everybody, where we share our best tips and tricks to help you get just a little bit better every week. And this week, we were talking about the implications of AI in construction. So, Eddie, we had this conversation with Noreen the other day, which blew our minds, right? And we kind of dipped our toe into AI, but this is something that I've been thinking about a lot lately, as I think everybody has been. It's pretty hard to ignore the impact, especially on the marketing side, like especially in the marketing community, that ChatGPT has had, because copywriting is like, honestly, is automated in a lot of ways now. Now, there's still reasons to use copywriters and all of this stuff, right? Of course. However, it's getting pretty good. And I recently was informed that there was another kind of like attachment, and it's on GitHub. It is called Auto GPT. And basically what it will do is you can give it, I'm going to butcher the explanation of this. You can give it a set of tasks to do for you. So let's say in the context of our podcast, I could tell it, hey, we need to find podcast guests around this. Please find me all of the experts, all of their information, like where to email them, maybe even their phone numbers. Like, give me all of their information. And then also I need you to write a template email for me too, for each one of them, and make it unique to them. AutoGPT will scrape the internet. So it is allowed to go through the internet and use, I think it was GPT-4, which is like the next version, right? It's using GPT-4 to create and craft all of this. And basically, it's auto, right? It's auto. You can give it a prompt of go do something, be my research assistant, be my executive assistant or whatever. It'll go out and do a lot of things. It's still limited right now. It's brand new. It's still buggy. But the thought just keeps coming back is like, how is this going to affect us in construction? How is stuff like that going to affect our day-to-day in construction? Because, heck, I mean, we don't know, like Procore or Trimble or, Autodesk, they might release an AI engine tomorrow. Who knows? I know they've got their eyes on it too.
Oh, it's got to be on the radar.
Now, I did see something the other day, and I liked it on LinkedIn. It was a guy or gal, I can't remember. They posted, it was like construction AI. I don't know if it's a brand thing or if it was just like a video to demonstrate like, hey, here's what could be possible. But this idea of, talking about steel, that's where we lived. It's like, hey, spans on A992 steel, like what's that look like? Or, what can I get away with? And like, it gives you all of the properties and gives you recommendations by the book.
Yeah.
So it's like scraping the AISC manual and pulling all of that data back for you as well. So like, there's people considering how this could be used to just get information. And then in light of our conversation with Noreen, what if those buckets are opened up and we ask a question in a chat-like environment or something like it, and it can go pull from your database, your personal database that you have opened up to me, and give me the information that I need. So for an RFI, let's say, it says, hey, I've got this question, and then it can go find in your vat of information all the stuff that I need and bring it back to me. And if not, it can flag an error and say, nah, you need to contact them. Here's their info. So a long-winded way of saying there's a lot going on in AI right now.
Okay, so you were talking about what I'm calling predictive AI, which is may or may not be the right term, but where you visit a website, it's actually looking at
that was the other angle of it too.
And then it's guiding you on the path of, almost like anything algorithmic does.
So I got to give credit where credit is due. Marketing Against the Grain podcast is one I've been listening to lately, and it's great.
Yeah.
It's the CMO from Zapier and CMO from HubSpot. Really interesting stuff, but they've been talking a lot about AI. That was one of the things that they had mentioned seeing in the future is that AI will be able to be embedded into websites. And again, I'm probably butchering this. It will be embedded in websites. And so let's say it can come back and it can look at your search like history and cookies and all of that stuff, take that into account and actually tweak the text, tweak different things about the website to make it more personal to you and what you are looking for in order to help it convert better. So it's going to help sales by tweaking it to make it more relatable to you and your specific needs. And so what that means is that you'll have millions upon millions of homepages just geared for individual people. And that thought is nutso to me. But in our current state, I think it's even gettable. Like there's some wiring that needs to happen there, but it's an interesting thought to see how I guess that would be more, not even generative. I mean, it is predictive. Yeah. So yeah, predictive to where it'll pop up everything that you want to see.
Right.
So,
the website's trying to predict
fascinating.
What you want when you arrive.
Exactly.
By searching what it knows or what it can know about you.
Because if you say accept all cookies, well, then guess what?
They're gathering information.
They're gathering information.
All right. So I would say that this is already happening at large, right? So YouTube thinks algorithmically about what you've seen.
Yep.
Facebook monitors your dwell time. So, anything else that has like a reel or short or whatever it is, it's trying to figure out like, where are we hanging out? What do we like? And then predictively handing that back to you. But I would say that I've had a recent experience with this, and it was like, no, this is not it at all. And I mean, I've had that experience
Give it to me.
Other things.
Yeah, what you got?
Have you played with Spotify's AI DJ?
Yes, I have.
How was your experience? Because mine was dismal.
All of it was like a virgin. Every single song. No, I'm just kidding.
100 times in a row.
No, yeah, that's it. It's just
Home Madonna.
Why? What's going on here? Why is it all Boy George? I don't get it.
Okay, so here's my problem is Spotify knows me because I listen to a lot of Spotify, but then it's interesting when you get your year recap.
Yeah.
Some of the things like the things I listen to, like I was in the top 1% of people that listen to Hans Zimmer last year.
Yeah.
Because I really like the Interstellar podcast, Interstellar soundtrack, amongst others that are just kind of dial-in music, right? Mm-hmm. You know this.
Yeah.
And I was I listened to a ton of it, and I listened to them in the morning. Mm-hmm. Why? Because I'm scrubbing drawings, or I'm doing whatever I'm doing. I'm in a focus mode, right? So what's Spotify getting from me? It's getting from me that I like listening to soundtrack music in the mornings. Now, it may not know how my day is going. Now, on this particular day, I think I got John Foreman. Mm-hmm. I think it was maybe Seasons or something like that.
Which is a great way to start the day.
But I was about to work out. And it was when DJ was getting introed, I went, oh yeah, okay, this is cool. I'm about at workout time. This is lunchtime. And I'm about to crank it up. I need to get the blood pumping.
It needs some Metallica, and then it hands you some singer-songwriter.
And so, give me some 90s grunge here. And I got John Foreman. I love John Foreman.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the moment I wanted John Foreman. So it was okay, well, flick.
But,
and then the next one was equally not as on time. And it was already in let me throw you something. And it's got this real clever little voice. Mm-hmm. Let me throw you something you might not have heard, but that you might like, because it's matching very technical musical things.
Yeah.
That you like.
Yeah.
Spotify's it's got a very advanced engine that way to know you, not in the sense of bands.
Yeah.
But in the sense of something that's almost in stylistic metadata. It's pretty deep, pretty technical.
So I would argue, so one side of this is that it needs to learn, right? And so it just got released for you.
But it's getting better.
For
years.
No. But they haven't implemented that AI learning system, but recently. So Sam uses it. She loves it.
Okay.
She was like, "Have you seen this? Have you heard this?" She was like, "This is amazing. I've found so many great artists because it's just feeding them to me." and I'm just finding a bunch of great music now. And so it's the polar opposite experience of what you're talking about, which is kind of like, yeah, okay, it's not fitting the time frame.
You don't know me. You don't know me, you stupid machine.
That's accurate.
You can't know me.
That is accurate.
You don't know me that well.
So long story long, because we are definitely past 5 minutes. Eddie, we're talking about AI and the implications in construction. Yeah. So knowing what we know now, what should be on our radar, right? What sorts of things do you think AI is going to disrupt in our industry? Is it going to be everything? Is it going to be nothing? What's your prediction for the future? I guess crystal ball moment here. Like, look forward. What is it going to do in our industry?
Okay, for that specific thing, I think the one major source of disruption is going to be research. Jobs, say like architecture or interior design or something of this nature, something that needs to be researched and found. Where you used to spend hours Googling, searching, looking at databases, things like this. Yeah. It's going to easy button that. There's going to be a lot returned quick. In the same way that TestFit can return you like 10 different parking configurations, you're going to get a lot of different things that you can use. The research is going to return to you fast. The thing is yes, it's got to learn, but it's also got, like, there's a level of understanding that this is not going to have that's contextual. So just because it knows what your behavior was before doesn't mean that's equally predictive for what is to come.
I'd argue that is trainable, though. That's the thing, is that I don't know if anybody has realized on their phone, like I have the little map app on my phone, and it at close to 5 o'clock, if I'm not at home, it'll pop up and it'll say like directions to home. And in the morning, it'll say directions to work. On Sunday, it'll give me directions to church. So it knows based off of where you're at, and it can pull off of that context. Now, your gym and your office are located in the same place. So that's a little bit of a confusing thing.
Yeah.
So it might have to go off some other data points for that. But I would argue that it's still trainable, that it will still understand context based off of location. Now, there's some nuance to that too, but still.
I wonder if AI would just say, wow, Eddie, you're really boring.
Yeah, you're really boring.
You spend most of your time.
I'm just going to replace you. How about that? No.
You need to get out more, man.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, so I think my crystal ball is that I think it's going to absolutely, completely obliterate a lot of different things here, and probably not the next 10 years, not the next 20, because I feel like we're holding on to a lot of habits and different systems and processes and things.
But we've been working on going paperless.
Yeah, I think we need the next couple of generations to come through, because they're the ones that are going to be just natives in AI. Yeah. Ellie, my daughter, is going to be a native when it comes to using AI in her life. So she would naturally go towards that. I think, yeah, she'll respect it and she'll know what she can do with it.
No, expect it. She'll expect it.
No, she will. Yes, she will expect it. Yeah, sorry. So I think it's going to take some generations. I think it's going to take some generational change. There will be some people that are reaching out and trying to, get out ahead of the curve. But before we get full like saturation and adoption, it's probably going to be like 20 years or so. Okay, but so this is something to be thinking about for sure.
This is turning into a 45-minute, 5-minute.
Crap, we're doing it again.
It's okay, because it just got interesting, and that's why.
Okay.
I think it's interesting, the generational gap even between you and I.
We got to stop doing the 5-minute, 45-minute, 5-minute thing. Dude.
We just won't make promises anymore.
We need to stop making promises is what we need to do for sure.
Doesn't go well in the construction industry, actually.
No, it really does.
No, there's a difference between you and me.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have much more of a propensity for acting like an old man.
Yes.
And that
100%.
It's not my knee jerk to use tech all of the time, because when I grew up, it wasn't there.
No, it wasn't.
Like there were so, like, my knee jerk is I have to figure this out with my own noggin, with a book, with my own two hands. Whereas you grew up with technology in hand, and Google
is the first thing I go to now. Whereas like whenever you have a question, so yeah, let's take detailing.
I grew up with internet that actually screeched at you.
Yeah. Detailing as a connecting point here, right? If you have a question about a steel member or any sort of sizing or like little nuancy thing about a member, what's your go-to?
I go get the manual.
You go get the AISC manual, the book.
You Google that.
I Google that.
Yeah. Which returns you to the same engineering forum many times that struggles to actually answer the question.
This is true. However, it's interesting to know that like generationally, like there's 13 years between you and I.
Yeah.
Right. That's not that much time, but our perspectives and our upbringing are so different.
Yes.
And so when it comes down to our kids are going to be used to AI. They're just going to be. Whether or not it's as overt as it is now with like ChatGPT or whatever, because that's pretty overt. That's a very overt usage of AI. It may not be overt. It may just be working along in the background. So I don't know how it's going to take shape over the next couple years.
When Google comes along and search engines come along, I mean, you got to imagine there's like a moment of freak out for like all librarians everywhere or something like that.
Oh, yeah,
like,
100%.
oh my gosh, this is going to change how we live. And
it has. When's the last time you went to the library?
It's been a couple months.
Years.
But not. I don't go there. I don't go there for research. I might go there so I can actually have the tactile experience of having a paper book.
I mean, that's fair.
Life's changed.
Yes. And
I think in the same way that, Google has just kind of baked itself in. And you're Googling something. There are a lot of different search engines, but you're using a search engine to find things for you. AI, something like ChatGPT, is going to feel equally as natural to the next generation in that, like, why would I write all of that? Like, why would I waste my brain on writing all of that?
Mm-hmm.
When so Gmail came out,
yeah,
there are other writing platforms came out with just kind of like it's an auto suggest that like I can hit tab and accept that word or maybe a few words or a phrase that it knows, he's probably going to say this now. And it presents it and you go tab and it accepts it. And all of a sudden I've got 4 words typed where...
Or the suggested responses.
Yeah.
That's the other one.
That's another one.
Yeah.
And it's funny.
Now,
there's
I rarely
some people,
use those.
Well, there are some people, I know when you used a suggested response because that person would never use an exclamation point on anything. Ever. Which is another generational difference.
That's true.
It is. If you're a millennial, you use like 9 exclamation points on everything.
There's an emoji.
If you're Gen X, you're like 2 max for the exclamation points. And if you're a boomer, you don't use exclamation points. Why would you get that excited?
If you're a millennial, then you're like as many exclamation points.
Very good.
Wow, man.
Well, okay. So these generational differences, will it change? Yes, it will change. Is it going to feel like a natural change? Mm. Yes, it's going to feel like a natural change. It's going to be a natural process that my kids are used to using.
Yeah.
It's just going to be there, and they're just going to use it, and they're not going to think about it. And so there are so many things that have changed even since I started working, even since I came out of school, like that, say, the paperless thing. I had to be convinced to go paperless.
Yeah.
I had to be pushed to get the paper out of the shop. Now, do you remember a part of your career where we weren't paperless?
No.
And you were in it a decade.
We've been in paperless,
as long as you worked. Yeah. Okay, so that's 11 years.
Bluebeam, baby, the whole time.
That's 11 years.
Actually, we were using Adobe whenever I first started, and then we switched to Bluebeam.
You said that. You've said that twice, but
you were full of crap, sir. Full of crap. I remember when Bluebeam came. I'm going to find
the first install because I have email proof.
That's
suggesting it in 2010.
You may have bought it, but I remember using Adobe when I first came on, and then we started using Bluebeam right after that.
I
You have
know,
come into a family feud
I
here.
know this could really turn into a fight.
Welcome to Family Feud. I'm your host,
Anyway,
Tyler Campbell, who is
generational differences.
always correct. And anyway,
You're always the baby. That's what you are.
I'm gonna call mom on you.
I just really do think that this is going to be a little freaky at first, and then it's going to we're going to very naturally go into this thing.
I'm not doom and gloom about it.
If
right?
you think too hard about it, you could get really kind of freaked out about it. But there are a lot of things we used to freak out about that we don't anymore, like putting your information on the machine.
Yeah.
Maybe that's good, maybe that's bad, but I mean, it's just like there's almost a mentality now well, yeah, all my junk's out there anyway.
It's pretty much where I'm at right now. Yeah. I think I don't want this episode to be all like doom and gloom, everything's crap, blah, blah, because that really in a lot of ways is the way an AI conversation can go. I'm just not seeing, I can see pockets of that, I guess. It's so immature right now in the public eye that we don't really know what's going to happen with it. But I have very high hopes for how it will speed processes up and help people be more efficient and not have to worry about, not having to worry about typing up that RFI. I love the fact, if we could eliminate RFI because of AI, I'm on board. And I feel like most of the industry would be, maybe you're not because
I like
old,
the way you said that the second time better than the way you said it the first.
Thanks.
The first time you said, I'd like to be able to write RFI for me. The second time you said, I'd like it to be able to eliminate RFI for me.
Yeah.
It's like when back in the day we thought about I wonder if we could come up with a process where we could take the lines off the PDF and digitize those back into a 3D model in Tekla through some sort of thing that we write. And then we, through a couple of years, realized, now most people are using a modeling software to put the lines there to begin with. Yeah. So we just go from modeling software to modeling software and it's there. In the, let's eliminate RFI. Mm-hmm. I see something like these automations being used in permitting more and more heavily, being able to crawl a model for deficiency. But I also see that being used in design, being able to crawl a model for code deficiency.
Yeah.
Codified deficiencies are going to be the first things we're able to crawl because we're going to be able to input the code. And then we're going to be able to make the model intelligent enough that if we enter it a certain way, that'll read out and it'll be code compliant.
Yeah.
And then that's going to be demanded by certain municipalities, which will be followed by other municipalities, and it's going to grow. That's going to happen with RFI too. Hey, you need to put these things on. Just in the same way when Google says you're in Gmail, you send the email, Outlook does it too. Did you mean to attach something?
Right, yeah.
Did you mean to attach something? It's going to be did you mean to dimension that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I did. Do you want me to do that for you? Yes, I do.
First step, I think, is definitely going to be embedding AI within existing applications. Getting people used to that is going to be huge. And it's going to be a lot like that, yeah? Where it's it's sitting in Revit. It's sitting in Tekla. It's sitting in Procore or Autodesk or Trim, any of these products. And it is able to register when something doesn't happen or when something needs to happen. Because you think about Procore, right? Let's just use that as an example, or any other project management platform. It has all of the PDF information in it, and AI should be able to go and scrape that data and pull it out and answer any questions that you have.
Yep.
Yeah. Or cross-check data and say, all right, here's the engineer's drawings. Here's what their specs say. Here's the architect's drawings. Here's what their specs say. And then here's the detailed steel or the glazing or the whatever, the HVAC. And it's going to be able to cross-compare based off of, I think that's first step, off of PDF data, maybe. Or it's just going to go straight to modeled data, which is the more logical way to go. So it may push people into using modeled data because they get to leverage AI. They get to make sure they get that assurance that everything is actually to spec And I mean, heck, man, there might be even insurance mandates to do that. Since we're on the rhyming train here.
I really, yeah, definitely. I wandered up into the girls' room the other day and like just kind of, checking like, what were you doing with our time online? They're on the tablets, and Julie, she showed me a house that she had designed. Mm-hmm. And she's manipulating it on a tablet with her fingertips, just like, all the things that we brag about using in the field.
Yeah.
She was doing it. I mean, sorry, everybody. And she wasn't even thinking twice about it. And It wasn't complicated.
It's intuitive.
And she had designed a whole house in it. Yeah. She designed a whole house in it. Yeah. I repeat, she had designed a kitchen and a bathroom and a fireplace and a living space and had furnished it and had put roofs. She's 10. And you think nuts. That in 15 years, when she's 25, she's going to have any problem whatsoever saying, yeah, let's just interact with the data in 3D. No, you go put that back on a PDF for me. I want that PDF. I need that dumb 2D thing that has deficient information that I can't figure anything out from. You go put it back in that stupid state. Dude, it's going there.
Well, gaming is put it in that way too. There's like 2-dimensional gaming that happened at first. We're still in Mario, right? Like we're still in Super Mario Land right now in construction. It feels like most of the time.
Yeah, wasn't that 32-bit like the original?
It's like 8-bit. No, it was just really, really it's 2D. Yeah.
Yes.
But then at some point they realized, but we could get more immersive by using 3D.
Oh yeah.
And so now our kids are used to seeing 3D. And exactly what you're saying. It's like, this is intuitive for them. That's like Minecraft to her. Yeah. That's like just an alternate to Minecraft, I'm sure.
Yeah, and it wasn't.
Well, I mean, it wasn't. But
here's the thing: is it wasn't Unreal looking. No, this was a SketchUp level rendering of a house.
Yeah,
that she had done in 45 minutes. And I can't help but peer over that fence into the gaming world and see what they do. And I go, what's the difference between the modeled objects that she's looking at graphically on that screen and then what I look at in Tekla? And why does my thing look more cartoon than hers?
So I think it's
what's attributable to the objects. It's the database behind it.
Well, and if we're talking about gaming and how it pertains into construction, right? So in gaming, how you would implement AI would be to generate the items, to generate the mountains and the buildings and the this and then that and the ponds and the all that crap, right? The fish, whatever kind of game you're playing. AI would be implemented in the building process in putting that stuff together. The only time a human would get involved in something like that is when they're actually in there experiencing it, right? When they're walking around the world, interacting with the world. AI is able to take over so much of that building process in gaming.
Yeah.
I feel like AI is going to take over the digitization side of construction. Like it's going to take up a lot of that because there are not a lot of people that are in the BIM field right now. Like, I mean, there are.
We've been
and there
arguing
are,
for this,
yeah,
yes.
and yeah, it's hard. It's freaking hard. There's a lot of stuff to remember. And so I feel like that's an easy place for AI to enter the scene. So it's in the building process, the digitization of, or building a model that is going to happen. When we get out to the world, out into the real world, that's where the human hands have to touch it. Yeah.
Yes.
And so that's where it kind of is a nice little flip over into human hands. So I almost feel like design is going to become less, I'm going to say intense. I don't know how I want to frame that. Design will become less intense. Yeah, that's a decent way of looking at it. As a result of having AI in our systems.
Yeah, there'll be like a suggested database of things like where I will know categorically more of like what I can get to put in for that rooftop unit.
Yeah, why don't you go use Collinear for this? Why don't you go use Train for that?
Here are 4 or 5 suggested systems. It's not to say that those are all the systems on the planet, but here are 4 or 5. Which one would you like to do? And you auto-populate, and you can see the pros and cons for all of them in real time.
And the
Yes.
pricing
And
for that
and
too.
yeah, maybe toggle the pricing.
Yeah.
So that could be a lot more. It makes it easier to make decisions and push discovery upstream, which was kind of the
a
heart
lot
of that
what Noreen was talking
that
about.
episode with Noreen. And I mean, the only thing that I don't want, and maybe I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to mention Spotify one more time. I don't want to turn our brains off. Like, I don't want to quit having ideas.
No.
I don't want to quit having an imagination. And I don't want the algorithm to steer all of humanity towards some predetermined future where you just sit there and drone. You just become a slave to the machine. And I say that in that, you know, I got opinions about what music I want to listen to now. And, you know, if I don't want to listen to that song, I don't want to listen to that song. I want buildings to continue to have a personality.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I want people to continue to solve problems. I believe that construction is amazingly dynamic, and it makes this a very difficult problem.
Yeah.
So, lest we overstate, this is not easy. I don't think this will be quick. And I don't think that this is a replacement for our own ideas, imagination, ingenuity, intuitiveness, because there's an intuition that comes with being human that I would love to continue to harness.
Yeah.
But I know.
It's going to allow us to explore more. I think is really the long and short of it, is that it's going to be able to explore and return results much quicker than us even Googling it. Yeah. Like if I go to Google and I'm trying to find specific songs, or if I'm going into Spotify and I'm trying to find specific genres and all these different things, it's going to go out and be able to return results that are going to be more accurate and true to me.
Yeah.
It's going to cut down on that research time. It's going to allow us to explore more effectively. Yeah. So what that means for architecture is like very close to like what Stephen Bierstaker was saying. It's like, you know, hey, listen, this entryway that I threw into Dolly to try to, you know, figure out a better way to design it. Yeah, it wasn't that good, but also it doesn't need to be perfect. All it needs to do is get the wheels turning. And that, I mean, that's one of the ways that I've used kind of ChatGPT, is to just kind of like help me explore ideas and just give some prompts and just see what it comes back with. And I might be able to just kind of chase that rabbit trail. Just be like, oh, actually, that's a really interesting way of putting that. Well, what about this instead? And so you keep just kind of pushing it, and you keep just trying to explore, and it helps your creativity, actually.
That's actually the idea of Pinterest.
Yeah.
Is like, let me explore some ideas, and let's find a pond of ideas.
So I'll leave you with one more, though, that I just heard this morning, along with AutoGPT. Drake and The Weeknd just released a song that was generated via AI.
Yeah.
It was an AI generated song. I don't know the name of it. We might be able to include it in the show notes. I apologize if it's explicit. I haven't listened to the full thing yet. All of the disclaimers that I could possibly throw out there. But it exists.
Yeah.
And so those are very creative people, and they're leveraging this in some way. And I would argue it's probably because they can poke at it and just kind of see what it does. Now, is it going to completely replace what they do? No, it's not going to replace what they do. It can't replace them. It really can't. And their taste and their unique experiences. But it can help fuel that fire and help them explore new ideas.
In a deep and philosophical moment.
Oh, boy.
Will this take us the way of the future where all music is generated by AI? Or will it go the way of 80s synth? I mean, what are we dealing with here? And will that take a break and come back 30 years later because all of a sudden the next generation thinks it's cool?
It's all just going to be German death dubstep or something weird like that. I don't know. It's going to be very awkward and very weird. I don't.
Legit, Jay's using the old guitar to learn a few chords. Yeah. And he was like, do you think there's going to be a future in music? Do you think that people are going to continue to create
music? I think so.
I do with all my heart believe
no,
people will continue to create music and art. I just think it's a part of our fabric. I think we'll do it no matter what can do it. I think we will do it.
I think we're cyclical, right? I think that's where we go through cycles, right? So if you look around right now at what everybody's wearing in fashion. Like, we're in a college town,
Yeah.
right? So we see a lot of college students walk by our windows and everything every day. What's the trend right now? It's like mom jeans and like, you know, long tube socks, you know, like dudes walking with long tube socks and like
Mullets came back.
all this crap, right?
80s trucker hat
Yes.
with a little cord across the top.
Yes. So a lot of this stuff is cyclical. Fashion is cyclical, all right? But I think that is true for what we desire as human beings. We are cyclical in our culture, right? So what that means for Jay as he's learning guitar is that we might be exposed to so much AI generated crap in 20 years. We're sick of it. Therefore, people return back to the roots, back to things like, oh man, that guy can actually play guitar. That is impressive. And we seek that stuff out. It's kind of like the difference between blogs and TikTok right now. Right now, we are super into like short form videos, right? In 5 years, that may have run its course. And now people are just looking for like, man, I just need long form content again. I just want to read again. And then a new form of blog pops up. It's basically a blog. It's just fed to you a little bit different. It's kind of like, you know, fashion, right? It's like, it's the same stuff. It's just kind of fed to you just a little bit different. It's just tweaked a little bit to make it a little more modern.
Yeah.
It's the same sort of thing. So, I think with everything AI, we will still seek to have that like craft spirit, like something that we can hang our hat on and say like, yeah, I have this skill. I have this capability. Like, you know, playing guitar. So there's a very weird kind of relationship between fashion and playing guitar. You're welcome.
Well, we got to put this under wraps because this has gotten completely away from us.
What is it, 40 minutes? All right, sweet. So
40 minute, 5 minute.
Guys, we did it again.
Stink.
We really suck at this. We really suck at 5 Minute Fridays.
And you know what's fun? Is we still have to do the 5 minute Friday. that
we came in. This was going to be our 5 minute. We were going to be done, and then never mind.
Now
okay,
we still got stuff. There's work to be done.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, here is our request, right? So if you have any comments on AI, if you have seen anything in the construction space as it pertains to AI, we want to hear about it. Things that you think are interesting and applicable to this conversation, or maybe even not. Something else sparked in you that you want to talk about. We would love to chat about that. And we would love to have you on the show by our voicemail line. So if you would call 512-THE-BROS, we will take your questions and potentially use them on a 5 Minute Friday. And maybe it could turn into a 45-minute Friday like today's. Who knows? We'll see. But all right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us this week. Go build something awesome.